Oakridge firewood program, and what they've been doing is we've been getting wood from different places, from different companies, and they've been splitting it and selling it to low to moderate income people who live in the community at a reasonable rate, and then at times if there's additional wood, then they would sell it closer to market. Bottom line is they need a location. That's what they're looking for, so that they can continue this. And again, it is one of the legs of the PM 2.5 wood smoke mitigation. So they are a necessary cog in this venture. So I think in front of you all, you had a memorandum of understanding, but I believe some of you had questions, and I did relay Councilor Carl's questions to Mr. Sanders, and so I think it may be appropriate to just pass it on to y'all on what y'all would like to do.
Can't hear you guys.
We're whispering because we can't figure out what piece of paper I have. Just a moment. My apologies. So, do we, as a group, can we have a discussion before we?
So I think what we could do is suspend the rules and then have your discussion prior to making the motion.
That's it.
Suspend the rules.
Okay.
We have discussion.
Okay. Gary?
So, I'd like to preface this by saying that I appreciate what you're doing with this program. And I don't want to diminish the program or support the program, but as an elected official of the city and representing the citizens, I felt as though I needed to raise some questions about the proposal that your lawyer drafted, which was or you drafted, but who wrote it? Louie wrote it.
Or good company.
No, I didn't write it. We did go back and look.
Well, I just saw some things in it that I questioned, and I don't know if you want me to go over those.
I would love to address the council and answer your questions at the same time.
So that everybody's on the same page.
Sure.
Why don't I quickly read what I questioned, and then you'll answer the questions, and everybody will have both sides of the story. Does that sound like an idea?
Longer-winded version of an idea, but yes.
So the agreement as presently proposed should not be approved by the city. While the concept of a public-private partnership is appealing, Inbound is receiving the raw material, that's the wood, for free, and the facilities for free. And rather than donating premium highway frontage property, which is calls for Highway 58, where the old public works building is, rather than that highway frontage property, the city should lease property and structures already available in the industrial park. The industrial park would be a better location for the following reasons. 1, ingress and egress for wood deliveries as well as consumer wood pickup. There would be no issue of heavy trucks accessing a processing location at the industrial park. At the proposed Highway 58 location, and it's proposed where the old public works building is. You all know where that is. There would be considerable danger of accidents occurring. Second, noise abatement will be an issue at the current proposed location due to neighboring commercial and residential dwellings. Chainsaws, heavy equipment will create unacceptable noise decibel levels at the current proposed location. And third, the current proposed location is prime highway frontage, and using this property for wood processing does not seem to be the highest and best use of the property. In the past, there have been proposals for a community event center at this site. There's also been consideration for development of a private strip mall. What reason, if any, is given for locating the wood processing at this particular premium highway frontage location? And then the terms of the agreement itself, the terms are not clearly spelled out. Inbound is to charge a reduced price per cord of firewood. Otherwise, Inbound will charge market or under market rate. Considering Inbound is receiving the raw material for free and has an operating facility donated by the city, there should be a clearly enunciated financial benefit to the city. Pegging a given fixed dollar amount would be too problematic. However, a percentage of sales could be used to fairly compensate the city in this arrangement. Otherwise, we provide Inbound with a windfall profit. There is no requirement for Inbound to give hiring preference to local workers. While firefighting may require specific levels of ability to perform a firefighting task, presumably there's a much lesser physical ability required to cut firewood at a fixed location. Insofar as there are local woodcutters available, they should be given priority consideration when hiring by Inbound. Inbound is required to provide insurance for this project. Given the highly dangerous nature of the work, evidence of insurance naming the city as an insured must be provided before this agreement can be signed and or any work can begin. The insurance endorsement must provide that the city be notified should the insurance be canceled or reduced. Is it necessary or in the city's best interest to give Inbound a right of first refusal to purchase the building? That's what's built into their proposal. This provision should be struck from the agreement. The city is giving Inbound too much. This provision sets up an argument at a later time as to the fair market value of the property and the value of improvements. Furthermore, the city is agreeing to give Inbound credit for improvements made on tenants' behalf by the city. I think this is totally unacceptable. In conclusion, for the aforementioned reasons, I believe the proposed memorandum of agreement is unbalanced and heavily weighted in favor of Inbound. The proposed location is not the highest and best use of the property, and the wood cutting site should be located in the industrial park or another suitable location. The terms of the proposed agreement are not fair to the city and ought to be reviewed and revised to reflect a more equitable outcome.
Thank you, Mayor Rowland and members of the council, esteemed community members. Thanks to finally come before you on this issue. 2 of the last 3 years we've done the firewood program. It's a collaborative. The city takes their dump trucks and their people and they go and pick up wood donated by private landowners like Seneca. And so they bring the wood in to a location and I provide the labor. And then we coordinate, the city has been collecting the money and then we've been getting the wood delivered, and in the time we did it, the air quality has improved and we got off the EPA hit list. So that's kind of the history behind it. I got asked to do it. The first year we did about 70 cords. The second year we did 48 cords. The third year we didn't do any. So this is the 4th year. What's stopping us from doing more? Well, the private companies want to donate the wood. We have the labor. The city has limited resources to provide to us to help. There's no money in this. So I found your letter to be inflammatory and rude, to be honest with you. You could have called me and I could have answered a lot of your questions. I'm here to do it today, and I wish you wouldn't have said that you disagreed with the proposal before you even heard me speak. So I found that cart ahead of the horse. So let me answer some of your questions. I am not married to this location. I don't care. The first section of your thing is that this is a bad location. First of all, I think there's been buses in there, city equipment, much heavier equipment. Anything that we're bringing in is the city equipment. So there's nothing new here. There's no new issue of heavy trucks coming into this area. It's been used for that purpose for years. Buses and trucks and all kinds of stuff stored at that exact same location. But that doesn't mean I'm married to the location. Noise abatement, there's laws on noise. We'll follow the laws. That's all I have to say on that issue. We'll follow the laws. The current proposed location is prime highway frontage. Don't disagree. One of the reasons we like it is so people can know where they can get their wood. Come and get it. My dream is that all the meth addicts in the community bring their wood, and I buy it from them. And then we cure it, we age it, and we make sure only dry wood gets to the community. That would be the goal. We're doing that on a micro basis. The meth addicts are still getting free wood. They don't pay any rent either. And they're selling green wood into the community. So that's what we're competing against. There's no money to be made here. Let's say we did 70 cords at $150 a cord. Let's say I made $10. Let's say I made $50 a cord. I mean, there's no money. $7,000, no offense, is no windfall to me. That's not, that, I wouldn't categorize that. That's kind of a waste of my time, to be honest with you. Which is why I'm doing this, is because I'm self-taxing myself. I grew up poor. I feel like I need to contribute to the community. I'm saying, what can Inbound do? I was approached by this collaborative. I've done my part, so I'm sorry if you think I'm going to make a windfall off it. That part I found rude. The requirement to give hiring preference to local workers. Absolutely, we'll hire all comers. You should have seen some of the people we've hired. Tattoos on their faces, necks, piercings all over their bodies. Come on, you're a hard worker, we'll take you. Transvestite, cross-dresser, we don't care, we'll take you. Come on, 10 bucks an hour, 11 bucks an hour, we'll hire everybody. If you're a good worker, we'll take you. So we'll hire local people. We're doing that already. All right, so if you want to put that in the agreement, we're happy to. Insurance, you could have just called me. The city is already an additional insured, has been for 10 years. We have an existing ongoing $1 million policy. You're insured. Anything we do on your property, you're covered. That paragraph's taken care of. Is it necessary or in the city's best interest to give Inbound the right of first refusal to purchase the building? Well, if I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to put all my stuff in there and load it up, and you're going to sell it out from under me 3 months later, at least let me protect my investment. So that's what that's in there for. That came up at the meeting, I didn't disagree. That sounds like a good idea to me. The city is not giving me, they're giving me the right of first refusal. That's not anything else. Someone wants to pay $1 million for that building, Dillon. Do you want to match it? No, I don't. That's your right of first refusal. That's all you gave me. The right to take a bite at the apple if someone else put an offer out. So I don't think that's too much. This provision sets up an argument at a later time as the fair market value. That's the fair market value, is whatever someone will give you for it. If someone will give you more than I will, they're going to get it if it comes to you selling it. If we know it could be sold, we know it's up for sale. This is a temporary deal, 2 years max. And there's no money in firewood unless you're going to sell it to Bi-Mart, wrap it up in little bundles. We might do that. That's like the long-term vision. But to provide for our community, there's no money in it. So the reduced rate is because over the 2 years, the price will change. What is the market rate? We think it's about $200 a cord. So we want to go in at $150 a cord for those people in our community who have only wood heat, or who are poor and who are registered on the exemption list with Lake County or with the city. So that hopefully answers your question. Any improvements made on the tenant's behalf? I'm not quite sure where you're going with that. City is agreeing to give Inbound credit for improvements made on the tenant's behalf by the city. I think you might have misunderstood that. I don't understand that myself. So I think that the MOU is balanced. I think it's weighted in favor to protect Inbound because I'm going to be the one putting my money and people out there. The city has a piece of property that's been underutilized. It's been rented for years as far as I know, and right now it's almost empty, vacant. If you have other plans for it, I'm more than happy to look at another location. So that's all I got. Any other questions for me? Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Sanders, what is it exactly you need?
Mostly space. Two acres would be good for now, I think.
So, you're going to season this wood. How is that done?
And so I need covered space, exactly.
Okay.
And we're at the OIP currently. Well, for the 2 of the 3 years we're at the OIP. The building we currently have assigned has no sides on it. So the wood is curing, but as soon as it starts raining, it's going to get wet again. So we would like to have this place because we can put a lot of wood inside and it'll stay curing. And we want to cure at least until it's below 20% fuel moisture, so it doesn't smoke.
Yeah, I have a question for Mike. He wants to store wood in a building. Does this building have a sprinkler?
No. I believe it does.
Is that,
It's not an issue.
unless somebody throws a match?
That could be in any building.
And so you're willing to go someplace else?
Absolutely.
Or are you offering to buy this property here?
I haven't had that kind of discussion yet. My business is wildland firefighting. We're gonna do $1 million in payroll this year, just into wildland firefighting. So last year I did about 500 hours or $5,000 in the wood thing. So, you know, I don't know if I can invest in a building just for that, to be honest with you.
So, Louie, I have a question for you. It seems counterintuitive to produce wood smoke when we're in a unique spot topographical wise, and we're trying to meet the 2.5 parts per million. But yet you have money for a wood stove replacement, which is heat pumps. Do they compete head to head here?
Well, what's in there is not necessarily, we don't have a lot of money for heat pump replacement. However, we've been working with our partners and the other stakeholders such as Lane Electric, Co-op, and Good Homes in Eugene, and they've been assisting the city with a number of the citizens on putting in these heat pumps. And so if you're asking if those heat pumps assist with all of this, and the answer would be yes.
And Mr. Sanders, how much do you expect to sell?
We think there is a need between 80 and 200 cords a year for the local watershed. And we're defining including Westford and that geographical kind of area. And when I say we, I'm talking El Rapa and this Southern Willamette collaborative that I'm a part of. And they're the ones who have dragged me into this and to drag the city into it, and the Foresters and Seneca, and they're the ones who have really pushed this, and I think it's a good thing, so that's why I'm here.
But by your own admission, you're not making a lot of money,
Right.
and it doesn't sound like you're going to.
Never will.
So, well, I appreciate your effort. It just doesn't seem to make dollars and cents.
It doesn't make dollars and cents. It is a, I grew up poor. I grew up with only wood heat and no electricity. And so for me, I'm sympathetic to those people who are in that situation. So that's it. I'm a 50-year-old man who is sympathetic to people who are poor, and I want to help them until they can get a brand new heat pump someday. Glory be.
Thank you.
So I think council, one of the things we need to keep in mind is if our city was a little bit bigger, a little bit more robust, had a larger public works department, we could help provide this for our community members ourselves, but we cannot. We also need to remember that by providing dry wood to the people who are burning wood, we are helping reduce the particulates in our air and helping our community meet the standards that we need to in order to grow. So this whole project, you know, is one piece that is a multi-legged approach, which Oakridge is in the forefront of showing works. This is something that's really important. So, you know, Mr. Sanders is indeed doing this out of the goodness of his heart because he doesn't make a lot of money on this. But I can attest, having worked with the collaborative and helping supply this, how grateful especially the elderly, who he goes above and beyond to help. Not only does he deliver, but he will stack it for them, put it in the right place, make sure it's covered, explain all that to everybody. So, you know, in helping him help our community, it's a win-win situation. Now, I'm open to that discussion. Is this the best piece of property? I understand that this piece of property is could in essence be a prime location, but right now it's unused. From what I see in this memo of understanding, Mr. Sanders understands that if we have a better use for this, whether it be our city use or someone wants to buy it, then he is more than willing to say, hey, I'll jump in that bandwagon and buy it myself, or can you help me find another location? To continue this. It's not a money-making proposition. He's not going into business selling wood. He's going into business to help improve our air quality. That's the business. So we need to keep that in mind as we think about this and you deliberate it. Those are my 2 cents.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry you didn't like me doing this way, that you would have preferred I contacted you privately, but I couldn't do that. And the reason I can't do that is because there has to be a discussion with the council. It's not you and me, it's this group. And so I did everything possible to be open and honest and fair, even so far as providing you with my remarks ahead of time.
Thank you for that.
So you would have a chance to look at them and come in here and yell at me.
Just got me upset.
You did good. You both did.
Well, I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
I do.
Why can't you call me? Because it would, you individually cannot call me?
Well, I did call
Talk
you,
about
but
this?
I did call you, but I knew that this discussion had to take place in the council, not between you and me. So
I just thought it would save the council some time, like the insurance thing. If you had picked up the phone, then you would have found out we have.
So it's no big deal.
Right, just took time.
So big deal.
Time and energy.
So, I have a question. Do you have dry wood right now?
We have about 10 cords right now.
And did you say you sell them to the low income for $150 a cord?
That's what we're talking about.
Okay, and I know everybody does it different, but approximately how long would a cord last?
Well, most people use 2 to 3 cords over a course of a winter. Hardwood lasts longer, softwood burns faster. And it's mostly softwood that we have.
James?
So, Mr. Sanders, it sounds like the reason you want to move is that you want to get your 4 sides. You want 4 walls.
Oh, correct. Yeah, I need at least 2 walls.
So, yeah,
Yes.
pardon the accent. So if you're up there in the industrial park now, just one of the covered buildings, wouldn't it just be easier to put up some walls?
Well, I mean, some we talked about also. You know, there's walls already on this one with no
And
money
they have
involved.
sprinklers, and I know they were pressurized a while back.
It's the money. You know, if we have to start spending money before we can make firewood, then we're upside down and something we're never gonna get right side up on.
All right, thank you.
Kevin?
Approximately how many cords do you feel fit in a public works building that can be cured at one time?
I haven't actually looked inside there. There's the kind of the garage outside that we've looked at, and we know we could get a lot of wood in there. And we're hoping we can get 50 to 100 cords in there, but I haven't actually looked inside. It's always been from the outside.
So would you be double stacking your cords
Yeah,
or
we're
single stack?
in carts, you know, big old bins.
Louie, was there any other building that would be appropriate? I mean, given that he does need sides, because, you know, I understand that with, what are you, curing it? Curing it, okay, you're drying it.
So,
Other building that the city considered using?
not that's immediately available right now, no.
And what do we currently use that building for? Would we be kicking something or
So,
someone out?
so, what we use it for is to store a couple pieces of equipment, but there are 2 side bays where we can move that equipment, and he could use the main floor.
So this, in your proposal of this memorandum agreement, you say the intent of increasing production and supply of seasoned firewood 400 to 800 cords between 2020 and 2030.
So that's phase 2. That's if this does become a business, which they're doing a feasibility study. That's part of what you're reading there. The feasibility study by Good Company. this MOU covers the phase 1, so this does not include any of that. And that would be the Walmart, or where we're wrapping wood and kiln drying it and all that and shipping it out of state. You know, I think it's a pipe dream, but we're doing a feasibility study and we'll see what we got. I don't know if I want to spend my life doing firewood. That sounds like a lot of work, you know, but we're studying it.
So where do you plan to get your wood from?
So that's part of the feasibility study too, is the supply side. If it became phase 2, then I'd have to be buying it and bidding for Forest Service wood, and I'd need some kind of assurances, and that's part of what Good Company is trying to get everyone collaborating to give us those assurances, so there'd be a 20-year supply or something. Right now that isn't there. We get our wood donated by Seneca and Roseburg Lumber, so it's all privately donated, and I cut trees for some of you, maybe. John left. And if people donate the tree, then I give them a discount on the tree cutting. And the city has had some trees that we found. They donated those, the wood to the project. That's where we got our 10 cords, is from those early donations in the year.
Mayor, may we ask Jim Coley, who has been involved in this PM 2.5, to address this issue also, because he's been in the beginning of it? If there isn't anything that we haven't said.
So this, well, this program, and I strongly endorse this, and have been a strong proponent of this, and been part of the collaborative, and as the former mayor have helped put this all together. It's a tremendous product. It's a tremendous program. I don't agree with the location. I think there are other locations at the OIP which would be far more beneficial. But the program itself is something that is moving forward. It has been one of the main components that has gotten us out of trouble with the EPA. Between the code enforcement and the wood program, I tell people all over the state, those are the two biggest components of why we've gone from 41 historically to 29. It's because of his service and his product. We did sign off on the grant that it was supplied by the ODF to help study this, to pay for this feasibility study. It could be a business maker. Is it going to be fire? You know, the numbers for the fire? No. But it could be a business maker. And there are a couple in the state that do make business and do employ people. We saw this as an opportunity to expand his current operation, which generates very little money for anybody. We've gone in the hole over it. The collaborative, well, they've done nothing with it, so they've gotten not paid for it. But it is a program that has gotten us over the hurdle. And I strongly endorse it. Again, I don't care for the location. I think there's far greater. As far as the building goes, those are 16-foot concrete block walls, so, you know, the likelihood that that fire is going to get to the roof, maybe, but, you know, it is a block building, so that helps. But, you know, what they're trying to do and where this feasibility study could lead, you know, we're talking 5 to 6 jobs to start with, and it could be a dozen or two in the long term.
Thank you.
Just one other question for you. So if you're able to move into phase 2, where you're making, 800 cots, are your local or private suppliers going to be able to supply you with that much wood?
That's part of the feasibility study. The only way that second phase could work is if we had a steady supply, a sustainable supply. That's why other businesses who've done this haven't sustained, because they ran out of supply. So that's a big issue on our feasibility study.
See, you want 10 years, a bucket a year. And,
no, 2 years. It's 2 years.
yeah, just 2 years start out with.
And then down below it said, and hope that the city would provide a location for phase 2 with the commitment of 10 years at $1 per year.
That would be a different location. Because we need to be bigger. If we get to 400 to 800 cords, we're looking at 7 to 10 acre lot instead of 1 to 2. That place is not sustainable to grow. It's like you were saying, it has a limited amount to storage, and so it cannot keep up with the big. If we went for phase 2, we'd be in kiln drying, so it would be a different business. I'm pessimistic about phase two. I just don't, I don't see I'm 52, I mean, 10 years from now, I'll be 62, I mean, geez.
Which is young.
I'm getting old. You know, how hard do I want to work?
Can I make one more comment about, so the wood supply, and that's where the collaborative comes in, working with the Forest Service and their stewardship logging. So we know there's a lot of thinning that's been taking place. That's getting ready to amp up exponentially. So some of that wood would then be available. There's also small stuff that the Forest Service would like done that doesn't go out to big contract that he could bid on and take care of, or burn products could cut, he could process. So there's a lot of things that are coming up in the near future that are 20-year projections for thinning, as we know needs to happen in this valley.
And I could get a stewardship for some of the oak restoration. I mean, I'm eyeballing that one because it has a lot of hardwood in it. And, you know, a 20-year stewardship contract. But again, the stewardship means you're paying for part of it by the product you're taking off. And, you know, I truthfully believe that there's really no money in firewood. It is a dying industry. It will be replaced when we're a big city someday, and no one will have wood heat, and they won't be allowed to burn in their backyards. You heard it here first.
Any more discussion? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I move that the city administrator sign the memorandum of understanding with Inbound LLC to rent the old public works shop to manage the Oakridge Community Firewood Program.
Moved and seconded. Gary?
I'd like to see this tweaked just a little bit, so that the location maybe is different, something that's mutually acceptable to Dillon and to the city. And maybe a few other little dinky things in there. I like the program too, Dillon. I'm not against it. I said that to begin with. But just the way it's proposed here, I have to say I'm against it.
And actually, Councilor Carr read my mind, basically from the standpoint of, are there some minor tweaks that you might want in that before we vote on it? I was thinking something.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of a timeline are we looking for? I mean, I don't know if Dillon needs to be in a place as soon as he can.
They're going to start delivering wood. I mean, we'd like to start processing October 1st well, we have also on the agenda the conditional use permit. So it has to be part of the permitted activity.
I can get it done pretty fast.
But we have a motion on the floor.